Okay, so we're going to take a look at the layout of networking. What are you going to be doing? I'm probably going to keep this video for a number of years, but if you're watching this video after, let's see, fall of 2022, then you will know that this is a little different than what I did last semester. If not, then this is the same thing that you've been doing. All right, so we're going to kick over to modules. In this class, it brings you to this screen, and I always tell my students, you know what, I will have it go straight to the modules once the first week is over. So I'll do that. And here it is. Here's the getting started where you got this video. And yeah, you definitely want to take a look at each one of these. Well, maybe not the technical support. You might need that later. And this is just general access to test out. That's what that is. And then let's take a look at the units themselves. So these links are going to take you over to what they say. This is a lab. This is a lab. And if you click that link, let it take you to test out, do the assignment and test out, come back to your Canvas tab, which is still open, and click the next link, then your grades flow over without a problem. Now, if you don't do that, I will push the grades. I will go into test out and say, push the grades over there to Canvas. Now, I'm not going to do that every day. So if you're the kind of person that really needs to see that recorded constantly, then that's the way you need to engage in this class. You need to go and click the links that you see on your screen. It'll let it take you over to test out and then come back and do the same thing. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until I sync the grades. That's just all there is to it. So you will notice that in different chapters, we got different stuff going on. 3 and 4, of course, are very big. And in 1 and 2, those are not very big. We get through those pretty quick, and we will be getting through those pretty quick. These are the things that will be graded for your grade, everything that you see here. The only thing that you don't see here that will be here, you'll see an exam, and I will probably call them custom exams because that's what they're called in test out. So you'll see it listed without a number that just says custom exam. Now, the reason those aren't listed, they're already made, because I have to set the assignment dates over there. I have to set them here, and they have to correlate. And if anything goes wrong between that, then you can't log in and do it. And so I'm waiting until, okay, chapter 1, introduction, here we go. Here's a little test on that. Actually, I don't know if I have a test for 1, but look for it anyway. Definitely for chapter 2, we have that, and then on and on. And if it's a lot of information, I'll actually split the test. There might be a couple of these units where you'll have, a custom exam 1 and a custom exam 2. Now, to get ready for the custom exam, all of the practice questions are actually part of stuff that you have to do. And as you know, if you've taken a test out class, you're supposed to take those practice exams over and over again until you get 100 on them. Now, you don't have to. You can take it once and get a 50, and I'll keep that grade for you. But you have the opportunity to get 100 on it. Test out is very much set up so that you can actually keep prepping for the exam that's in your future. So I'm going to use the LabSim login. That's how you just log into test out without actually using Canvas to do it. I think I changed that. Nah, I can't remember. We'll do just James McBride. LabSim login is where I got that. I don't need that to keep it. And there's custom exams on my screen. Yours will be a little different. I'm going to jump into the product here so that you can see how this works. We're going to go into Network Pro. Now, this is basically your electronic textbook. I mean, that's what it is. Here's everything that we're going to go through in networking. And it'll be a super busy class, really busy. But let's say we take a look at network basics. What you ought to do if you're really looking at, I want to certify networking, which I tell students that is the premier certification that you should get while you're at EAC, right? It's the premier one, meaning that that's the most important one foundationally. Unless you're going into programming and coding, then you don't really need this test. Not that it wouldn't help you. And so you would treat this like all of your material. While I will post my actual lectures at the top, I will put those at the top of every unit. And so if there's 3 lectures over that unit, then they'll be there. These are their lectures. So I try to keep my lectures broader. In other words, I try to cover the same thing they're covering, really, but go into more in depth. So mine are usually longer, theirs are usually shorter. If you want to know what their lectures are over, take a look at the fact sheet, right? This fact sheet is basically a condensed version of everything that you ought to know. But there's not a lot of background information on what they mean as what does host role? What is that? Right? They just say host role. Boom, here we go. Okay, so fact sheets are very factual. They're just cut down versions of a larger text. So you can watch their videos, you watch my lectures, and you go through all the material. Okay, so I'm not grading you on all the material. That's the big difference. Some of you will realize that. I'm grading you on the stuff that's listed here. That's what has to be done. But if you're serious about this, you will go through all the material. And when you get to the practice questions, there's 10 questions on this, right? You'll start the exam and you'll go through those 10 questions. And if you don't understand one of them, you will say, can I check my answer, so that you can actually read the explanation. And this will actually tell you where you should go to get more information on that. Right, so I didn't mark anything. So client server this is what client server is. It's an excellent way to hone your learning. And that's why they do it. That's why you have these practice questions that you can just check the answer. That sounds like cheating. No, it's not. What it is basically allowing you to focus your mind on what's important. So it wouldn't be uncommon for somebody to come through and mark 4 of them. They know exactly what the answer is. They're doing fantastic on that. And then they hit 6 others and they're like, I don't know what the answers are. Look at the explanation. Then when you don't do well on that test, right? I'm going to do bad on this test. Oh man, I missed so much. You're going to go back in and start it again so that you can do well. These questions that you're going to see throughout each of these units is going to be on that custom exam. Now, I probably will throw in a study guide that goes along with that custom exam, and it will be listed that way. Here's a study guide for chapter 1. Right, we're doing chapter 2 here, study guide for chapter 2, custom exam for chapter 2, or exam for chapter 2. But on those, you cannot go through and review them. You can review them all afterwards, but you can't pull it up and go, I don't know what the answer to that question is. Let me see. It's not there. And it can't be there because I can't set that as an option. And so that's a totally different thing. What you would want to do is make sure you're doing hundreds on all these practice questions. You're actually paying attention to that. Right, not just going, yeah. Well, you know, that's what school has taught you to do. Go through and really try to understand this material using this method. Then when you take the study guide, you'll know, oh, right, okay, I got an 80 on that. I did pretty dang well. Let me do the study guide again. It's going to save you time. It's going to help you learn. It's going to be fantastic. So back over to Canvas, and then we'll finish up and test out. This is the stuff that's being scored. Basically, what you're dealing with is all the practice questions and the labs. That's really what's showing up here. You'll have demos and stuff that'll be in here as well. But that's pretty much what's showing up. That's the most vital, most important things that are showing up. So where's your grade coming from? It's coming from here. Do these. Right, that's what you got to get done. You don't get them done, you're going to have trouble. Okay, so back over to test out. Now in test out, again, you can follow Canvas over to test out. You can click those links. It'll take you each time over there. Or you can come in here and just do it and say, well, McBride will probably sync the grades in the beginning, like once every couple of weeks, I'll sync them. And then when we get more towards the end, I'll sync them every week. But it takes it a long time to do the sync. because I don't have the option of just doing a class. So it'll do all the classes that I teach for test out. In any case, yeah, if you want to, you can come over here and I'm like, okay, this week, we're doing chapter 3 and it's due by the end of the week, and you'll see those dates appear there. You can come in here and just go through the material right here, right? So a lot of people will just come in and just do this. However, I will tell you that you do need to log in to Canvas once a week, because I always use that as a check to see if you're engaged in the class. So in other words, you show up to my class, but you never do anything in Canvas, you're going to get dropped. Yep, pausing for effect there. You don't do anything in Canvas, you never log into Canvas, you just show up to class, you're going to get dropped. So you'd be like, well, I'm here every single week. Yeah, but I want to see engagement. So my attendance is based on, am I showing up to class? Am I doing anything? Right? Or am I just sitting there? Because I have a lot of students, probably about a fourth or a third of the students per semester, when they get into a course this hard, that they just come to class. And half the time they're goofing off in class and not paying attention. And they never go into Canvas. And I keep them in the course and they just have an F the whole semester. And so what I'm doing now is I'll go in and look and see if you did anything. Are you actually logging into Canvas and clicking on this stuff? And if you're not, you'll find yourself dropped. So be aware of that. The other thing, of course, is I will put right here at the top, once we get going, the dates, due by. It'll actually be right in the headings, due by. Now, the others, I'll actually set dates on those as well. So you'll see that those dates will have open and close dates on them as well. But I will do that once we get going. That way, if we get kind of a rough start, I don't have to go through and change a bunch of dates. Get the information done on those dates. It's going to be very strict with those dates. I am no longer going to be asking students to take notes and turn in notes for grades. That's why this is not showing up. You won't actually see that in yours. It won't appear there. And so I do expect you to get that work done promptly, on time. And if not, it'll be open for probably another week past that. And then it's going to subtract points from your grade for turning it in late, doing it late. So be aware of that. Get things done when you're supposed to get them done. Don't just blow it off. And this stuff is not going to reopen. So I'm not going to later on go, oh, okay, everything's open again. I have done that in classes. By the time you get to networking, if you haven't figured out you need to study your butt off, then you need to know up front that you're not doing well in the class. And so I'm going to keep those dates, and then stuff's not coming back open again. All right, if you have questions about any of that, you just let me know and I will answer whatever I can. Look for my lectures that I will do weekly in class to appear here online as well, again, at the top of the material. Take care of yourself. See you later.